shopgear.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages and shapes. Yes, I reversed it, but it is the TTRP Pat G. The G stands for gangster, along with Sergeant Fury once again as he's fulfilling the co-host duties.
Yo, I'm riding Chewbacca tonight. Here we go. It's TTRP on Labor Day. Happy Labor Day to you, Pat G. I know that most of our listeners are slaving away at their jobs, and hopefully by listening to this, it can remind them that you can have a sweet-ass job and a sweet-ass side job and still love life. So how are you tonight, brother?
I've been good. Other than the fact that school has pretty much kicked my ass the last 3 weeks. Hence why we haven't recorded an episode.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because, people used to ask me all the time why I did accelerated summer courses and accelerated winter courses. I used to tell them because I hate myself. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be a glutton for punishment to do accelerated seasonal courses like that. It's like, lack of sleep, lack of free time. And add on to the fact that you're knocking out coursework and trying to have a social life. Yeah, fuck all that noise.
Yeah, well, I made the lovely decision of, hey, let's follow the Dan Patrick Sportcasting degree at Full Sail University. That'll be a good idea. And then everything's been smooth sailing, and then this last 4 weeks has been the first of 7 project and portfolio classes, and it's like a ton of shit.
Oh yeah, dude. Trust me, you are sitting there and you're having to do a psychological evaluation on a historical figure, and you're like, shit, I have to do research on history and psychology? Fuck my life. Yep. I feel you. And it has to be 10 pages, APA. Yeah, forget all that. But we're not talking psychology of famous people, and we're not talking about projects. We're talking about pro wrestling, son.
Yes, and starting off tonight, coming off of course, All Out with AEW, and the lovely thing that in the wrestling community, oh no, NXT's going to Wednesday nights, AEW's on Wednesday nights, ooh, it's a Wednesday night war. No, it's not, guys. No war. Just 2 companies on the same night doing their shows. That's all that matters.
Absolutely. And I mean, we've talked about this on previous episodes, and I've been very vocal about it. All Out had a great show. In fact, let's talk about the wrestling weekend that we had, because you had NXT UK TakeOver, and you had AEW All Out, which a friend of mine was there for in Chicago, and she said that it wasn't as great as All In last year, but it was still a really solid show. To travel from Connecticut to Chicago to go to a wrestling event, you know what I mean?
And of course, while you mentioned NXT UK and All Out, is you also had New Japan put on a show.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the thing that gets me is I am never stunned by the amount of tribalism, if you will, that people are willing to, the lengths of tribalism that people are willing to go to in order to say that their side wins. You see it all the time, and pro wrestling has always kind of had like a us versus them mentality. You could go back to the territory days, or you could go back to what really started in the 80s with NWA/WCW versus WWF, and then of course the Monday Night War. Competition, as you know, often can be the best thing for a company. And to me, so you have 2 wrestling companies running on Wednesday night. You have AEW and NXT. Good. And you know why I say good? Because, God damn it, it is a great time to be a pro wrestling fan.
Oh, absolutely. And this is the thing is, and I'm going to take the words of Chris Jericho. Jericho said in an interview last week, they're like, he said, plain and simple, he's like, why start a war with a minor league? Not that NXT's minor league by any imagination. but it's the thing of AEW's doing what AEW's doing. NXT is going to keep doing what they're doing. It's just now moving to 2 hours. So you're not going to have the focus on just the key parties that it's been for the last year. You're going to start seeing how deep the NXT roster is.
You know, Triple H did a Q&A after TakeOver UK this past weekend, which if no one has seen it, you go on the network. It's worth the price of admission. And he kind of laid out through a conversation that, you know, you have 120 professional wrestlers, talents, you know, performance artists, whatever you want to fucking call them, at the Performance Center in Orlando. You have China. You have Saudi Arabia. You have England. You have Germany. You have all of these NXT camps popping up, which Triple H mapped out last year during an investors meeting. And he basically said, here you go. This is our global plan. You know, did I think at that time Triple H was like, we're going to go on, you know, Wednesday nights on USA? And, you know, I don't think he maybe saw that far in the future. I think what is awesome about it is if you look at AEW, with the exception, and I'm not shitting on anyone, okay, with the exception of Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, Hangman Page, Chris Jericho, of course, you know, and like, you know, Nyla Rose and maybe one or two others. AEW is, you know, how could I forget, you know, Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels, and this is the thing. Your regular fan is not going to know, or your passerby fan is not going to know these people. Same with NXT. Like, if you talk about professional wrestling with people, like, they know Roman Reigns, they know Kofi Kingston, they know John Cena, but do they really know Johnny Gargano?
Yeah.
Do they really know half of the roster that they've currently got? Do they know Matt Riddle? These people don't. It's two young, new rosters that are going to be going head-to-head with each other, which is really cool if you look at it, because it opens up a new avenue for young talent to get spotlighted. I don't know the proper English on this one. Because you have a 2-hour show, like you said. NXT now goes from 1 hour with like 3 matches on the network to having to fill 2 hours worth of content, prime time on Wednesday night, competing against another wrestling company. Vice versa. You have AEW, which is brand friggin' new, newly minted company, who has to go at the established company head to head on Wednesday night, prime time on TNT. And if you don't think that there's executives at TNT that all of their eyes are watching this, commercials are on both networks, hyping both shows.
Yep.
Okay? And I was at Moe's last night getting dinner with my girl, and on the USA Network, there it is right there. NXT's got commercials on, hyping up September. Yeah. You know, you turn it to TNT, there's commercials for AEW, hyping for October. It's like both companies are doubling down, but this isn't a war in that if one company fails, it closes down.
Yeah.
That was the Monday Night War. That was Vince could close fucking down.
Yeah, that was the thing. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's a war, it's a Wednesday Night War or whatever. And that's the thing. During the Monday Night Wars, it was the thing of Vince McMahon was coming off of the days of the big muscular guys, the Hulk Hogan's, the Ultimate Warriors, the Macho Man Randy Savage. He shifted to a new era, the smaller guys, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, so on and so forth. And then you had WCW come in, and Ted Turner's like, okay, WCW's been around. Yes, we have our names. The Ric Flairs, the Arn Andersons, the Stings. But then he's like, Eric Bischoff comes in and is like, we need some prime talent that people know. Hence why the minute, and Vince McMahon has said it himself, the minute that Hulk Hogan showed up on WCW television, WCW became competition, WCW became legitimate.
Yeah.
And the thing is with NXT, yes, you have the Adam Coles, the Bobby Fishes, the Kyle O'Reillys, the Johnny Garganos, the Velveteen Dreams. You have a lot of people that outside of the people that watch NXT on the WWE network, you don't know who these people are. And yes, while you mentioned it, AEW has your Chris Jericho, has your Kenny Omega, has your Young Bucks, has your Cody Rhodes, which people know. A lot of the AEW roster, unless you follow independent wrestling, you don't know.
Precisely. And it goes to the conversation that we've had off air, and actually conversations I've had with other people. I thought I was going to throw quotes up, smart fan in 1994, 95. Okay. I read the Pro Wrestling Illustrated. The internet was fledgling, but I still found little, dirt sheets online. I was a young fan. Nitro was just really started, had just started up. I didn't know who Eddie Guerrero was. I didn't know who Chris Benoit was. I sure as fuck didn't know who Dean Malenko and Rey Mysterio were. I didn't know who a lot of these younger cruiserweights and
absolutely.
That picture. I didn't know who these guys were when I started tuning in.
I knew who Guerrero and Malenko was because I was watching ECW when ECW was ECW.
Yes, the original ECW.
Yeah. That first couple of years, so I knew of Mysterio and Juventud and Malenko and Guerrero and Jericho because they had been in ECW, and then when they showed up in WCW, I was like, wait, I know that guy. I knew of them, just didn't know the extent of their careers.
Exactly. And that, it took me getting into tape trading to understand, oh, wow, here's ECW, which was on at 2 a.m. on the MSG network for hair and cable out here in the Albany area. And so, of course, now I had to stay up until 2 a.m. to watch wrestling on Saturday. But the funny part about it is it's like Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are not a huge name yet. But can I see them becoming a huge name down the road? Fuck yes. Kenny Omega is an international star that everyone talks about. Is he going to get bigger? Fuck yes. We haven't even talked about Jon Moxley, who Jon Moxley is legitimizing AEW. And if it wasn't for this MRSA, I could only have imagined what that match would have been like between he and Kenny Omega. I think when people talk about this war, I would hope that they don't want to see one company fold. I hope that they would want to see companies trying to be the absolute best that they can be without shitting on it. I don't have it in me at 37 years old to get invested as much as I was as a teenager in a Monday Night War. I really cannot.
I don't when the news broke that NXT was moving to USA, I was like, you know what? That's cool. I like that. I'm because now it's going to get more eyes on NXT. And then when AEW's like, hey, the AEW TNT news broke, I was like, all right, that's cool. I was like, bring back wrestling to TNT. Awesome. It was just the thing of, and then the whole thing, they're both going to be on Wednesday nights. I'm like, okay, cool. You know what? I'm going to watch one, DVR the other, and then I'll watch the one after the fact. And I'm sure there'll be a week where I watch NXT first, AEW second. There'll be a week where I watch AEW first, NXT second. I don't have the mental stability nor the freedom of life to engage myself into another wrestling war.
Which points to me a very important aspect of this Wednesday night schedule that both companies need to take into consideration, and I think the wrestlers involved already know. You have, once again, two companies that are going head-to-head. The benefit of this is that all of the people that are on the current rosters right now were wrestling fans during that Monday night time frame, which means that they understand the importance of putting on the best possible segment for their quarter hour as possible. That means that everyone walking out there is going to know that we have two companies going head to head. Our segment needs to be better than their segment, because that's what it comes down to, is ad revenue, sales projections, as well as the talent in the ring. You know, one of the things that I love hearing about is one of the highest rated segments of all time of Monday Night Raw was Farouk versus Bradshaw. The APA wrestled each other in a match, and it was one of the highest rated segments in Monday Night Raw history. Now, the coolest part about that is that if you go back to the network and you watch that match, holy shit, it was two big dudes going at it, and it was a great match.
Yeah.
But then the funny part about it is a week later, Pat Patterson versus Jerry Briscoe. Or no, Pat Patterson and Jerry Briscoe versus the Mean Street Posse.
Yep.
Like, got higher ratings. And it's like, you needed to have that amongst the roster, and you needed to have that, you know, in against the companies. But the cool part is that, and I think this is something that people are not thinking about, we no longer have to sit and wait for someone like Velveteen Dream to get called up for Raw or SmackDown.
No. Because he's gonna be on USA.
Tommaso Ciampa no longer has to, we no longer have to worry when he comes back. Is he going to get lost in the shuffle on Raw or SmackDown? We don't have to worry about this. Where are these people going to land? Because guess what? They are literally 2 hours dedicated to them developing their story. And from all reports, Vince McMahon is not going to be as involved with NXT as maybe he was with ECW. And I think that might be a concern for some fans. Is this going to end up being like WWE ECW was?
Well, Triple H pretty much could put the kibosh on that. Is Triple H came out and said people like Dave Metzler and others have this thing of when NXT moves to USA, Vince McMahon is going to have his hand in the cookie jar. He's like, we're going to be live Monday, Wednesday, Friday. He's like, Vince McMahon has pretty much told me to go make NXT the best product that I possibly can make. Vince McMahon is not going to have any say at anything of what NXT's doing. Because, and this is the thing, is because of that, I think that's one of the reasons that USA was like, you know what? No, we want NXT, because originally NXT, Triple H was shopping NXT to Fox.
Yeah.
And maybe Fox Sports 1. And then once that news came out, USA was like, no, come here. And made a hell of an offer to them and be like, now you have NXT on USA.
And the good part about that is, and we talked about this the last time that I was co-hosting, we talked about Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff getting called up by Vince to come and help with essentially directing each ship, Raw and SmackDown.
Yep.
I think another part of this equation that people are, not to sidetrack from the Wednesday Night War, that people aren't considering is XFL. The XFL is coming out soon. They're debuting. Vince McMahon has sunk a considerable amount of money, time, effort, and advertising dollars into preparing the XFL to be a great product that he leaves. It's actually a passion product that could have launched perfectly 20 years ago, but he was more concerned, honestly, with the Monday Night War, and I understand that. But if you look at what he's doing, if he says Paul, Raw, Eric, SmackDown, Paul, number 2, NXT, go. He has more time now to dedicate to the passion project that he has going on now. Is he going to oversee certain aspects of it? Probably. But at the same token, if Triple H has full reign and he can show that I can make this show just as good, if not better, it's like everyone talks about how great NXT is. Okay, put your money where your mouth is. Now you've got prime time. Much is the same as AEW, where people are just weird creatures in that they're excited to see another company come in, but they almost want to see it fail right off the bat, because after All Out, people are like kind of shitting on the company, and we're just over a month away from its debut on TNT. And if you want my opinion, the right person won every single match that they had the other night in setup for what is coming in the future. And to me, AEW versus NXT is an opportunity for a lot of talent that is out there to showcase what they have and give us fans exactly what we've been clamoring for. We have so many options for wrestling. Punk said it himself.
Yeah.
Instead of rooting for one side to lose, how about you root for the fact that you've got fucking wrestling on every single night of the week?
Pretty much. And that's the thing. Like, with you're going to have Raw on Monday, you're going to have AEW and NXT Wednesday, and then you're going to have SmackDown on Friday. And then not to mention you have your ROH, you have your Impact on Thursday or Friday.
MLW. The NWA has just announced a weekly television show.
Yep. It's like basically you're going to get wrestling on every night of the week, basically.
Every night of the week, and if you're a super fan, what a great time to be alive, because if you happen to miss one show, don't worry, you can stream it live on the app.
Yep.
Or you can stream a replay on the app.
Yeah.
Instead of having to have two televisions next to each other and, running your head.
Or having the VCR set to record one while you're watching the other one.
Oh my God. And I mean, these kids today should be thankful that they don't have to worry about the Clash of the Champions every,
oh my God.
What was it? Every Saturday, every 3 months, we had a Clash of the Champions. Yeah. Try holding down a summer job in Lake George, New York.
Yeah.
When you're calling and being like, has Sting shown up yet? No? Okay, I'll call back in 10 minutes.
Yep. It's like every two or 3 months, it was like, hey, we're going to do a Clash of the Champions show. And it was always sometimes there was a Saturday, sometimes it was a Thursday. It was always random ass days.
And that's the thing, is it's like fans nowadays, they can just watch the shit on their phone while they're, sitting at their shitty job being like, well, fuck this. I want to see Moxley.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
And unfortunately, one of the things that came out after All Out, which I give Baron Corbin like mad respect for, is somebody like posted the meme or whatever of, so for all the shit WWE gets about having older guys go over younger guys, friendly reminder that the current AEW World Champion is 49 in November. He's like, I like Jericho, but I keep that same energy. And Baron Corbin came, and it was on Instagram. Baron Corbin said, he's like, all these smarks have hated everything we do and complained about every detail, that now they are forced to love everything these guys do, even when it shows how dumb they really are.
Okay.
So to counter that though, yeah.
How long do you think Jericho's really going to hold that title?
Oh, exactly. Honestly, I see Jericho holding the title maybe 2 months at best.
I see him holding it until the first time it's defended on AEW television on TNT.
Yeah, I can see that.
I see him losing it, but here's the thing that people need to remember about professional wrestling is that the babyface is only a babyface in a certain aspect because he's chasing the bad guy.
Yep.
Especially when the bad guy has the title. It's the chase. It's the, will this good guy, babyface, whatever term you want to use, finally become triumphant and win against the heel and gain the title. And then during that time, your next big heel that is going to take the title from him and start a brand new chase should be coming up. And if you want my opinion, the next big heel that is going to be following Jericho, Shawn Spears.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that is a prime example of what AEW is going to be able to do for talent all across the board. Because Shawn Spears, who may have had an okayish run in NXT and maybe a mediocre run in WWE, is now going against Cody Rhodes at All Out
with Tully Blanchard in his corner.
with a founding horseman in his corner as his consultant. It's like, dude, you couldn't strap a rocket to that kid's ass any faster than if Elon Musk fucking had SpaceX do it.
Exactly. And then the thing is while we're not going to get into the whatever, because I know you haven't seen the show, but a lot of people were like, well, Hangman Adam Page seemed like he didn't really belong in the main event. Yeah, understandable. He may not have been ready because, truth be told, Adam Page has never really has been given that spot.
And under those circumstances, if you want my opinion, the thing I thought of in regards to this main event that they had All Out was this. All Adam Page has to do is show that he can hang with Chris Jericho.
Yep.
And mind you, this is not Chris Jericho from even 10 years ago or 15 years ago.
Not at all.
This is that Bruiser Brody brawler, New Japan Chris Jericho that we've come to really respect in this new incarnation of Jericho. All Adam Page had to do was hang. That's all he had to do. And if he showed the world that he could hang, then he's made.
Honestly, I felt like he hung. It just, he wasn't ready for the spot.
And that has happened. I mean, come on. Professional wrestling is littered with guys who, quote, weren't ready for that spot. The argument could be made in 2015 Roman Reigns wasn't ready for that spot. The argument could be made that the Ultimate Warrior wasn't ready for the spot when he had it. Some could say that Bret Hart wasn't ready in 93 when he had it. To me, who is really ever ready? That's the most valid question.
Yeah.
If you overweight for someone to be ready, then their time can pass them by, and maybe someone who is better just comes up and snatches the reins from them. No pun intended. I mean, look at the fact that Kofi Kingston finally had his moment this year. You would have thought he was passed up in 2009. 2010.
Yeah.
I mean, it took him nine years to finally get back, but it's like, the motherfucker is making money hand over fist and is the face of SmackDown. It's bottom line. And that's what it comes down to.
Absolutely.
Bottom line.
Absolutely. But, and this is the thing is, in pro wrestling, it's ever changing. Everything's changing. Everything adapts. Everything grows. And that's where this Wednesday night has gone to. It's got to a point where AEW has grown, and because of who runs it and the business acumen that they've learned from their father, they know what to say, how to do it, and how to portray it, that they convinced the network that 18 years ago said, we don't want wrestling on our network anymore. They convinced the network to say, and while granted, yes, I'm sure there's still people in TNT in that office that remembers when WCW was on TNT. I'm sure of it. But there's also a ton of people in that office that maybe now are the decision makers that are going, hey, you know what? We used to have pro wrestling, and that used to be a spot for really good of us and gave us something different and brought a different audience, which attracted that audience to our shows. Hey, why don't we try that again?
This goes to show you the reach that AEW has. Democratic presidential candidate Andrew Yang tweeted congratulations to Chris Jericho and AEW for being something brand new.
Yep.
Okay? You don't get that free publicity. AOE or Alexandria or
AOC.
Yeah, AOC.
Yeah.
She tweeted out
about how diversified they are,
and loving the fact that Brandy Rhodes and stars like Nyla Rose are bringing this new wave of entertainment out there that is completely different. It's like AEW has got this passion behind it that WWE in the 80s used to have, and even in the 90s used to have,
Yeah.
TNT wouldn't have looked at AEW as a viable product, in my opinion, had Fox not purchased SmackDown for $4 billion.
Yeah.
USA not ponied another $2 billion up for original content, including NXT, to build to the future.
Yep.
To me, what that says is both networks acknowledge, well, all three networks are acknowledging that professional wrestling at its core brings dollars.
Yes,
and
it does.
It's us wrestling fans who are so passionate about the sport that we like that we are willing to, separate our hard-earned money from our bank accounts to enjoy it. And if that means we have to pay $50 to watch a pay-per-view on BleacherReport.com, if that means we have to pay $15.99 for the WWE Network for a new tiered system, we will do that.
Or shell out $50 to $100 and take a 4-hour trip to Pittsburgh or Washington to watch AEW live.
Exactly. I mean, Boston is coming up. And that's the thing, is that what wrestling fans are willing to do is we are willing to go to great lengths to enjoy the product that we like. And I think these younger executives that are in these positions see that, they know that, they have a different vibe and a different feel than the AOL Time Warner merger that happened 20 years ago.
Yep.
That, in my opinion, killed professional wrestling for a while.
Oh, it did. Because if you look at 2001 and 2002 in WWE, it was a lot of the key guys as far as WCW were like, we're going to sit home and collect our money.
Yeah.
Why be out on the road 300 days a year beating our bodies up when we could just sit at home and wait it out?
And not just that. I mean, from the aspect of it took how many years, for them to get past the Monday Night War. Talent-wise, it took about, John Cena and Batista won the titles at WrestleMania in 2005. They were still in a reconstruction phase then. It's very tough when you have no competition, and they created competition within themselves. And, we've had many companies come since, and I think what people are getting behind with AEW is that this doesn't feel like a rehash of ECW or WCW, much like some people complained that TNA was, although people were like, oh, this is just TNA 2.0 after this past weekend's pay-per-view. But we'll see ratings-wise which one comes out on Wednesday nights. Oh,
absolutely. And that's the thing. But being a wrestling fan, you're going to win either way because you get to watch two amazing products one after another.
Exactly. And that is the win for me, and that's the win for a lot of guys.
Yeah. But we're going to take a small break here. We got the bills to pay, sponsors to shill out, and then we'll be back to talk about the PWI 500, and has WWE already ruined the Fiend?
Welcome, everyone. This is Sleazy.
This is the Fat Man.
And the world-famous R-rated podcast is now on the Gear Network. The Wrestling Show with Sleazy and the Fat Man is classless and raunchy commentary on the wrestling business today. Our multiple hosts, including Sleazy the Fat Man, Chip Willett, and NEW owner Travis Kenning, give a differing take on news, rumors, reviews, and previews of the entirety of the worldwide pro wrestling market.
We do what we want, we say what we want, and we don't give a at all. That's just the way we go.
Check us out on the Gear Network.
Here on the TTRP, Pat G, the G stands for Gangster, along with Sergeant Fury, as we just got done talking the Wednesday Night War, or not really a war, but people are trying to make it seem like that. But anyways, moving on, it's that time of year where Pro Wrestling Illustrated releases the PWI 500. And
500.
Basically, it's the 500 top wrestlers in the country, in the world. And a lot of people that both myself and Fury know usually gets on it. They're usually somewhere around in the 400s, maybe a little higher, depending on who they are. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to look at the top 15 of the list. And coming in at 15 was Cody Rhodes.
Much deserved to break the top 15. Cody didn't have, in my opinion, a huge run this year. I know that might sound insane. He did not win at Wrestle Kingdom in January because he was leaving, obviously, for his new venture with AEW. He may have come out with one of the best matches of all time at Double or Nothing against the natural Dustin Rhodes. But when it comes to being in the spotlight, Cody took a back seat. So because he took a back seat and really wasn't title chasing or anything like that, I absolutely think the top 15, yeah, I think definitely 15 is a good number for him.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Number 14 is Walter.
When NXT UK had their debut pay-per-view and Walter came out and essentially took the air out of the room, that put NXT UK on the map as far as a product that you should be tuning into whenever it's on the network. And he is, a physical specimen. He's different. You look at Walter and you don't see a bodybuilder. He is a throwback to me to the classic Carney strongman that you would have seen in, maybe the heyday of Gotch or whatnot, that remnants of what was.
Yeah.
Definitely see him. If they were to want to move him to the United States and get him on NXT on Wednesday nights, I could see him being a face that people would want to see regularly.
Oh, absolutely, because he's got that look and he's different. And the fact that he does a top rope splash is amazing.
Big boy.
Yeah.
Deceptively big boy.
Very. Number 13 is Tommaso Ciampa.
I'm saddened that the neck injury, and I'm sure that they're basing a lot of this list off of last year as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Year to year. If you wanted a face of NXT last year, it was Ciampa.
Oh, it absolutely was.
Ciampa, Gargano, those two had one hell of a series that, with the exception of maybe Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe, I don't think has been matched yet.
No.
In NXT.
Yeah, I don't think it has either. Number 12 was Jay White. And which is good for him. Which is good for him because he had a solid year.
He did. I was at the G1 Supercard in Madison Square Garden, where he and Okada just had an amazing match. I mean, they had everyone eating out of the palm of their hands. He started off hot this year at Wrestle Kingdom, and he's just gotten better. And he's such a young man.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, and for New Japan to put the company on his shoulders for the duration that they have, it only shows what they feel he's capable of.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. Number 11 was Samoa Joe.
Thank God.
Dude, if Samoa Joe, I honestly expected Samoa Joe to crack the top 10.
Oh my God, his match at WrestleMania, although it was short, it told a solid story.
Oh, absolutely.
And Samoa Joe, I think, because he's had such a start and stop go of it since getting called up to the main roster in WWE from NXT. I mean, phenomenal NXT champion. Like I said a second ago, his matches with Finn Balor were such a great story. His
matches with Nakamura were good.
Oh, absolutely. So for him to finally, crack the top 20 with being in WWE on the main roster, his promos with AJ Styles were fucking works of art. And I would like to see what they would do if they put the whole cart behind him and just said, okay, Joe, here's a run.
Oh,
a good, solid run with the Universal title.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. All right, we're going to break into the top 10. Number 10, Will Ospreay.
I'm gonna steal a line from Joey Styles that it is ironic that the wrestling ring is covered in canvas because Will Ospreay is an artist. He is someone who is beautiful at everything he does within the ring. He can tell a story. He puts his body on the line much in the same way as a Dynamite or a Chris Benoit.
Yes.
And the one thing that I can say, the one replayed moment that I have seen WWE try and do, and they failed at it, was when he took the Frankensteiner off the top rope and spun and landed on his feet, and the camera angle of Ibushi's face where he was like, "Oh, I done fucked up."
Yep.
And that it's like, to me, if he was just a spot monkey, that would have been ruined. But just the timing of his face and the camera work, Will Ospreay pulled that off better than anyone in pro wrestling could do. It created drama, and Will Ospreay, I would love to see him make a jump. But if he were to stay in Japan for the rest of his duration, dude is still straight up money and future IWGP heavyweight champion.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely, honestly, I can see him competing for that title within the next 2 years.
Absolutely.
If not winning it.
Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Number 9, Hiroshi Tanahashi.
God, my friend Carol has an obsession with him. Like she's a Tanahashi mark. And I can see where it comes from. I'm kind of disappointed that New Japan hasn't pulled the trigger on a Tanahashi Jericho match yet, especially considering that Tanahashi came in to help Okada after his match with Jericho. They might be saving something that big for a Wrestle Kingdom, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But Tanahashi is such a phenomenal wrestler.
Oh.
And it translates no matter where you are. If you watch one of his matches, he can sell you the pain, the victory, the agony, all of it. And it translates beautifully in his work.
Oh, absolutely. Number 8, a man that we talked about many times in the first half of the show, Kenny Omega.
Yeah, God. They being AEW put so much faith in him. He had a phenomenal match at Wrestle Kingdom, at kind of his swan song with New Japan.
Yep.
And I know that in February, there was a lot of people who thought that Kenny was going to jump to WWE, even though AEW was, in its infancy as far as being put out there. I know it was, quote, a great t-shirt company in February. Wink, 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 nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
And I know that Kenny Omega had said himself that WWE offered a good amount of money. But also, his series with Jericho has only picked up. I mean, that Double or Nothing, they closed the show out. And he had, from all accounts, what was going to be a great start to a feud with Moxley. And his promo style has gotten better. Like, that's the thing, is that he was Rembrandt in the ring, but a lot of people have knocked his mic skills. If you watch the most recent episode of Being the Elite, where he rips apart Moxley after finding out mid-filming that Moxley is out because of MRSA. I mean, he goes off, and it's like, okay, if that's the Kenny Omega we're going to see on the mic, and if that's the Kenny Omega we're going to see in the ring, TNT has got ratings and dollars all written.
Yeah. That's like the checks are just writing themselves at that point with Omega.
And he also managed to get ink from WWE last year because he and Xavier Woods were going at it in the Street Fighter tournament. It's like he and the Bucks got free press from WWE just for playing against their guys.
Yeah, just for doing the elite, for doing the Elite versus New Day.
Exactly. And at a video gaming convention, it's like, okay, so obviously you were trying to show, hey, we'll put some money behind you. We'll give you an AJ Styles push, but you went with AEW. We'll see how next year goes.
Yeah, exactly. Number 7, Roman Reigns.
maybe not top 10. And I know that he's top 10 because he's Roman Reigns.
Yep.
Kind of like John Cena. Even if John Cena had a bad year, John Cena was still in the top 10. He didn't have a great year. And I'm not going to say it's because he was out with leukemia, but really he only came back recently. So for him to be in the top 10 following his recovery is awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
He did have a good match with Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. His tag team match with The Undertaker was fun, especially if you go back and you look at the footage of just Roman Reigns' reactions to Undertaker being Undertaker.
Yep.
But really, I thought the real star of those series was Drew McIntyre. For him to not be top 10,
yeah, well,
kind of a letdown.
Yeah, absolutely. And McIntyre actually came in at 36 too,
which is very depressing because having looked at the top 20 wrestlers, one of them didn't wrestle for several months, being Moxley. I hate to bash anyone, obviously, on this list, but it's like even the top 20 guys, I wouldn't have said that they had stellar years, number 20 through 11.
Yeah.
I could have put McIntyre on there all day long, but it's nice to see Roman Reigns still getting the ink, and he is the face of the Fox merger, or not Fox merger, the Fox acquisition of SmackDown.
Oh, absolutely.
So I can see where that would put him in top 10.
Yeah. Number 6, Johnny Gargano.
Should have been top 5. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Should have been top 5 easily. Honestly, I would have, but there's names. I still want to put Gargano at top 5, even with the names that are in the top 5.
Yeah, like the top 5 is a solid top 5, but why the fuck wasn't Gargano on?
Yeah,
Johnny Wrestling had a phenomenal last year and a half.
Yeah,
he was amazing. Everything he did, everything he touched was golden. And for me as a fan of his work, for him not to be in top 5 is like a what the fuck moment. But with NXT going to USA Network next year, we may just see Johnny Gargano in the top 3.
That's very possible. The top 5. Number 5, Okada.
And his memory serves me correctly, he was number 1 last year, right?
Yes, I believe he was.
Okay. Okada.
I believe he was 1 the last 2 years.
Yeah, he was. I know for certain last year he was number 1. He closing out Madison Square Garden at the G1 Supercard.
Yeah.
It was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen live as a professional wrestling fan, and I was in Hammerstein when RVD won the title from John Cena, and I was there for Shawn Michaels' quote last match at WrestleMania 26. So for me to say that is a very high regard. Okada is and always will be, in my guestimation as a fan, the modern face of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Oh, absolutely.
No matter who is in charge of the Bullet Club, or the face of the Bullet Club, Okada is Okada for a reason.
Yep. And
to me, New Japan will never falter as long as Okada stays there.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree with that. Okada is their bread and butter.
Oh, he's their John Cena.
Yep.
He's their John Cena. Number
4 is Kofi Kingston.
I'm glad. Absolutely glad to see him in the top 5.
Yep.
This list. It's funny. When I watched Kofi win the title this year, I got goosebumps and chills. Kofi Mania was a real thing, and the thing that made it even more amazing was the real emotion that story was able to create amongst all wrestling fans. But more importantly than that, there has been knocks over the years about lack of diversification within the WWE pantheon of wrestlers. And for Kofi Kingston to now be that light at the end of the tunnel for a lot of wrestling fans and a lot of wrestlers who now see someone like them as champion. I mean, we had it with Eddie Guerrero and Pedro Morales. We had yet to see it at that level with an African American, superstar. But more important than that, an African superstar. He's representing an entire world now where a Chinese-born WWE champion is not far off, where a Japanese-born WWE champion is not far off. We now live in a world where the world in World Wrestling Entertainment is exactly that. We can have anyone be that champion.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, we're coming to the top 3, and we're going to just put them all together because for me personally, the top 3 is kind of like, it's so close between all 3 of them that it's just maybe the numbers, the way they're organized. But top 3 were AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, and Seth Rollins.
Yeah, Seth Rollins coming in at number 1. Okay, so if you would have told me 3 years ago that Daniel Bryan would be in the top 3 of this list, I would have been like, man, the fuck out of here. Same with AJ Styles, and same, honestly, with Seth Rollins.
Absolutely.
They all have come so far from the perceived notion of the smaller guy not being able to be the number 1 or number 2 or number 3. Let's look at AJ. Ever since AJ showed up to WWE, everything he's touched has been gold. He had a great, phenomenal, pun intended, feud with Nakamura last year. He has been the consistent superstar, the guy that you call in on a South America tour to come up to Minnesota to help save a show. He's had great matches with everyone he's been in the ring with. Daniel Bryan, who would have thought the guy who started the Yes Movement would have killed it and done this eco-terrorist?
Yeah.
Been essentially an eco-terrorist in professional wrestling, which to me is like, holy shit. You've now taken this idea of this pompous Greenpeace douchebag that we all think people from the Northwestern West Coast area are, and you've shoved it in our faces. And the hemp belt with the stones on it, I'm like, holy shit! It's ugly as fuck, but it's awesome. And then Seth Rollins, he could not have had a better year.
Oh, no.
You couldn't have written this boy a better story than winning the Rumble, beating Brock Lesnar in the opening match of WrestleMania, and then beating him at SummerSlam. He's one of only a handful of guys who's beaten Brock Lesnar twice.
Yep. Especially within a 6-month period.
Exactly. I mean, I think to the best of my knowledge, Kurt Angle is the only one who within a 6-month period ever beat Brock Lesnar multiple times.
Yeah, I think Angle's the only one. So now Rollins has joined that club.
And it's not a bad club to be in when it's Bill Goldberg and Kurt Angle.
Yeah, basically. And that's the thing. But
and I hope he continues this upward trend.
Yeah.
And for me, as funny as this is going to sound, and it goes to show you that persistence and hard work amongst smaller guys can get you to where you want to be. I mean, I know that a lot of people think, and if you look at this list, just taking a gander at it and seeing who's on this list, I think Roman Reigns, and I'm looking at it, I think Roman Reigns and maybe Okada are the only ones who are over 6'1".
Yeah, like honestly, because we started at 15. If you look at like 16 through 30, you have Lethal, Ibushi, Adam Cole, Finn Balor, Jon Moxley, Ricochet, Phoenix, Jeff Cobb, Miyahara, Naito, Velveteen Dream, Strowman, Pentagon Jr., Johnny Impact, and Lashley. Like, there's no, like, it's a mix of guys.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby Lashley still is like 6'1".
Yeah.
Like, they're not giants. And this goes to show you that it really is, at this point in time, skill and ability to captivate people with the microphone versus maybe being 6'5" or 6'6" and being able to pull an ambulance with a rope.
Yes. No, we all cannot be Braun Strowman.
No, and I mean, I wouldn't want his buffet bill if you would.
No, you know what? Honestly, I think it might have been. I can't remember if it's been Twitter or something, but I remember Braun Strowman like tweeting out towards the Wendy's and like because he went to a Wendy's like after a show and they like didn't have like chicken sandwiches or something like that.
Yes,
and he's just like, how do you not have chicken sandwiches? And he just wanted like 6 of them. That was it.
And didn't they, if my memory serves me correctly, they tweeted back and said, please don't flip over our store when you come back?
Yeah.
And like, if I'm not mistaken, the table for 3 with him and Alexa Bliss and Ember Rose was done at Wendy's. Because free publicity is still, that's his Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah. I think the table for 3 with him, Ember Moon, and Alexa Bliss was done at a Wendy's.
It's like, fuck. It's like, you can't get that kind of free publicity. It's like Wendy's and Arby's are killing it with the pro wrestling.
Yeah. Like, because Strowman is such a fan of Wendy's.
Oh, my God.
But,
of course.
But speaking of Braun Strowman,
yep,
he's facing Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship at Night of Champions, or Clash of Champions, whatever it's called. And, of course, they're also defending the Raw Tag Team titles. But it's the pay-per-view after that we're focused on. Because at Hell in the Cell, it has been announced by the venue that's holding Hell in the Cell that the Fiend is challenging either Rollins or Strowman for the Universal Championship. And this led to me going, well, WWE's already ruining this. And the thing is, like you said before on air, Vince McMahon saw the character Vince McMahon and saw dollar signs.
Okay. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. Because, all right, here we go. I've been waiting for this segment. If you can't tell, fans,
yeah.
There are 2 wrestlers I feel passionate about in this modern era, and it's he and Finn Balor. And the reason why is, when I was a little kid, Sting and Ultimate Warrior were my guys. When I was a teenager, Undertaker and Sting were my guys. It's like, I love these characters that like are bigger and comic booky and whatnot and horror movie inspired. Okay, last year at Starrcade, we had the quote, and I'm throwing air quotes up here, the return of Bray Wyatt at that event.
Yeah.
And the thing everyone talked about, because it was a dark match, no one saw it, is, holy God, this guy got fucking fat. Like, he went out for surgery, he was injured, he comes back, and he's just same Bray Wyatt, only fat. And I'm sitting here, and I'm like, well, that just kind of killed it, because he came back and didn't show up to TV. And then following WrestleMania, we had the vignettes popping up with, his buzzard and Abby the witch.
Yeah,
and,
the puppets.
The puppets. And all of a sudden, it's like, people are like, well, this is for Bray Wyatt. Obviously, it's a buzzard. Obviously, that's a witch. It's Sister Abigail. And then we have the Firefly Funhouse. And the first episode, I sat there and I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm watching. But much like all of the Broken and Woken Universe shit,
yep,
I'm intrigued. Okay, you have my attention. What are you going to fucking do about it? And then he introduces what I like to refer to as his Violent J personality.
Yes.
Where it's the Fiend, this clown with this Joker face that is a Tom Savini mask that looks fucking like it belongs out of a horror film. And he's smashing his puppets with fucking giant mallets. And he has taken this character, and it's a complete 360 from what his character was, with the blowing the buzzards and the fireflies, and all the shit that he debuted with the Wyatt family. He's now taken this character, taken aspects of Mr. Rogers. He's taken aspects of our cultural fear of clowns. There's a fucking phobia of clowns.
Oh, absolutely.
And he mashed it along with this horror aspect into one where you've got, his new music by Agent
Orange.
Agent Orange from fucking Pittsburgh. You have this mashup. The song hit iTunes and was number one.
Yeah,
okay?
they essentially Agent Orange essentially remixed the song.
Exactly. Let's look at his match at SummerSlam. He fucking comes out with his severed head as the lantern.
Yep.
He out-demoned he out-demoned Finn Balor. He wasn't demon Finn Balor, but he out-demoned Finn Balor. Okay. The crowd was chanting, "Holy shit." Yowie wowie, that was awesome the entire time. He keeps attacking these legends, which is obviously leading up to something huge. You have guys like Undertaker and Sting chomping at the bit to work with this guy.
Yep.
Sting said it at a convention. I want to work with Bray Wyatt. I want to be my character versus him. Even if it was a short match, it would still be fucking awesome. Okay. And then the coolest part about it is that the night of SummerSlam, they release a Firefly Funhouse box that has the shirt and the puppets and all that sold out.
And stickers, and it was they made 50,000 of them.
Yeah,
and
fucking sold out. And
they were gone.
They're on eBay for $300 fucking dollars.
Yep.
Later that evening, fucking Vince McMahon took a gamble with this. Bray Wyatt brought this to him, presented all this shit. He took a gamble, and I think you want my honest opinion. Bray Wyatt walked himself into the main event of WrestleMania this year, based on that gimmick change and that fucking character. Because will WWE try and tone it down? I don't believe the fucking hype.
No. Bray Wyatt has come out himself and said that the character's not getting toned down at all. Because there were reports of saying WWE is going to tone it down because of the scare factor. But Bray Wyatt's like, no, we're not. We're keeping this the way it's supposed to be.
If I were to call this, and this is just me, not only did Bray Wyatt walk into the title picture of WrestleMania with this character, I see him winning the Royal Rumble. I see him, or fucking just flat out, I see him winning the title and carrying it all the way to WrestleMania. And what I personally see is the Demon King Finn Balor versus the Fiend in some sort of elaborate, awesomely staged, theatrical fucking presentation for the fans to enjoy. Because since the Demon King was called up to Monday Night Raw, and since Finn Balor has debuted, they have not had a counter to each one of them. Unlike Undertaker, who had
Pain, Mankind.
There has not been a flip side to the coin. Bray Wyatt had that a couple years ago at SummerSlam against the Demon King Finn Balor. I was there for that match, and it was fucking awesome. The way that they did the presentation and the way Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt interacted.
Yeah.
I think Finn Balor has reinvented himself and has reinvigorated his career to the point where he is a license to print money. You can put Bray Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse right up there with Piper's Pit as far as reinventions of a character that are going to have resonance for years to come.
Oh, absolutely. And this is the thing is, I don't feel like WWE has ruined the Fiend character by putting him in a title match. Do I feel like the Fiend needs the title? No, he doesn't. But the thing is if he wins the title, and I had this conversation with friend of our Thomas Brewington, is he said it himself, if you give the Fiend the title, you kind of pigeonhole yourself because eventually he has to lose it. And I thought about it and I said, and now after you talk there, well, the only possible person that could beat him is the Demon King.
And that would be the thing that a lot of fans have talked about for a while now, is the fact that Finn Balor held the Universal Championship for 24 hours.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, he's held the Intercontinental Championship twice now, which he went into WrestleMania and Super Showdown in Saudi Arabia as the Demon King with the title and for the title. To me, the Demon King presentation, I think Finn Balor getting married, congratulations, taking time off to recoup all of these injuries, which guys need to do from time to time, especially if they plan on being around for a lot of years, gives us a chance to miss him, because Finn Balor didn't show up on Monday Night Raw the next night and, try and fight the Fiend. He disappeared after SummerSlam.
Yep.
And they kept, the big thing was they kept the camera on him, and they showed Finn Balor, grabbing his throat, and the facial expression is, okay, what do I have to do? What did I just face? And even Corey Graves said that these two have faced each other before, and why didn't Finn Balor bring out the big guns?
Yep.
Okay, because you saved the big guns for WrestleMania, and you have the Demon King Finn Balor, or just Finn Balor, win the Royal Rumble and go against Bray Wyatt, who could have a 6-month run. I mean, the cool part about the Fiend was he had a 5-minute match against Finn Balor.
Yeah.
His offense was brutal. The neck snap, the fucking neck snap that he did, was incredible. It was well sold, absolutely incredible. If you had him decimate Seth Rollins like that, if you had him decimate Ricochet like that, if you had him go against these guys that people like, and then all of a sudden the person that has to go against him is the Demon King, and you have finally these two people collide, it will be like the first time Undertaker lost. Because you have to remember, Undertaker had a 1-year winning streak from Survivor Series 90 to Survivor Series, Tuesday in Texas, the week after Survivor Series. The week after
Survivor Series 91, because he beat Hogan for the title and then lost the title at the Texas event.
Exactly, which was leading up to WrestleMania and what they were going to do with Ric Flair, being champion. And the cool part could be is it's like, okay, you bust the Fiend out, Fiend does Fiend shit, Fiend leaves. That's all you have to do for the next 6 months, 7 months, is just keep feeding him until the only possible thing to do is unleash the and that's entrances of all time.
Yeah, that's I completely agree with that. Is if the Demon King faces Seth Rollins, you have him beat Seth Rollins in the same manner that he beat Finn Balor, and then you just let him and you feed him the Ricochets and the AJ Styles and these guys that people like. That who's going to beat him? And then you're just like, nobody can beat him. And then finally Finn Balor comes back, Royal Rumble, wins the Royal Rumble, and goes, okay, mate. And that's the thing. You could have Finn Balor face the Fiend. Finn Balor, the man, face the Fiend again at, say, Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
And then loses. And then he's like, well, you know what? I still have my main event spot at WrestleMania. Okay. I need extra power. Boom, Demon King.
And the cool part about it is that they're hyping this WrestleMania up because it's in Tampa, and they've got the whole pirate gimmick.
Yep.
I am all about action figures. In fact, I get to get my Jack the Ripper NXT London Finn Balor action figure. Imagine if they were to do a Blackbeard the Pirate Finn Balor Demon King, like him coming out looking like Davy Jones from the Pirates of the Caribbean with like a tattered coat and a sword,
and the paint looking like the tentacles.
Exactly, and like the hat and everything. It's like, could you? Like, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that action.
That's money. That's money right there.
It's like, and then you have these two. I hate to say super villains, but it's like the Joker versus Batman at this point.
Yeah,
which is what Undertaker versus Mankind was.
Which is what Undertaker versus Kane was.
Exactly. And you're just giving us theatrics with two really great performers behind the characters.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. But that's going to do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. We're just about an hour and 15 in, but that's going to do it for us. I'd like to thank Sergeant Fury once again.
Thank you for having me, Pat G.
But that's going to do it for Fury. I'm Pat G. This has been the Turnbuckle Talk Radio Podcast, TTRP. Keep it locked. We'll see you next week.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.
Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Ryan Wolf
And Mr. Perez.
from the Better Live Than Dead podcast. You can catch the Better Live Than Dead
What's up?
podcast on the Gear Radio Network, betterlivethanddead.com, and wherever you get your podcasts.
That's right.
With that being said, hey, we talk about sports, we talk about music, we talk about entertainment.
I make things really awkward sometimes.
That sounds about right.
Uh-huh.
With that being said, though, as you always know, we are Better Live Than Dead.
You're not.
We'll catch you sometime very soon.